Hi guys, Fuzzy Dan here from Shaken Not Noob. I'm here today to talk you through a little playthrough I did in a game called Crown Trick. Now this is out in beta at the moment, so we got access to a beta key, and thank you very much to the developers there, Next Studios, for allowing us to have a bit of a playthrough on this. Now it's currently in development, still in beta as I said. I want to give you a bit of a description of this so you know what we're dealing with. It says, the description I've got written down here: Crown Trick is a beautifully animated roguelike dungeon crawling adventure, big breath, that sees you using magic and weapons to fight your way through its vast procedurally generated dungeons. So it's, yeah, that's pretty much the general description. There is a bit more here, hold on. The movement and combat system is reminiscent of traditional roguelike games, with you moving tile by tile and enemies moving each time you move. You do an assortment of nifty tricks, you do have an assortment of nifty tricks up your sleeve, such as magic attacks, teleportation, and an assortment of weapons, abilities, traits, and treasures, and tools that can ease your journey through the dungeons. Okay, so you'll see me here going through. It's it is as it says. You are moving sort of in a a straight line direction, so it's one square at a time. As you go through, you encounter all sorts of different things. This is one of the first playthroughs, so you'll see a lot of prompts and hints and stuff like that coming up. I really enjoy the animation style of this. It's quite fun. They have all this weaponry sort of just floating alongside you, which I think is quite interesting to do. Like, rather than just having it as something attached and animating the whole character, you're animating just the weapons. I did play this through a few times. There's a bunch of different ones that come up. I played this one. They had this fish axe, which was really cool. I really enjoyed that. All of the enemy types, however, they're all like static types, so you can you basically know what to do against them. You do have like a library that you can refer back to understand exactly what these enemies do, what their weaknesses are, that kind of thing. You'll learn some of the attack methodologies and methods to get around that. But it really is, like, because of the procedural generation with this stuff, it really is the variants and different things that happen, like, the different power-ups and buffs that you can get, which is really fun. There are some standard things that come through, so you've got a standard set of magic powers that come through that you can use. Here you get the encyclopedia, so this talks about some of the enemy types that you've got that we've faced in the past. Now this is roguelike, so it's you'll learn some of this stuff along the way, but you're just going to end up facing the same things over and over again. Again, this is one of the early playthroughs, so you do have a lot of these points where I'm still learning the game. Learning the map systems. There's the teleportation options, so you can actually teleport yourself around the map to different points within a certain range radius. So every time you attack, which is really cool, like they give you your range radius so you understand exactly how far your attacks can go. You're presented with these things a lot, which is cool. So you get these, every time you get a buff, you tend to get like a debuff to your effects. So there's options, you get to select all of these options. You can either choose to get a really low powered upgrade, or you can risk it for a high powered upgrade, but a chance that if you don't get the high powered upgrade, you get a debuff. So there's some really cool things with that. I really like that part of it. It challenges you to think, but you may end up getting stuck for a very, very long time. You can see that every time you move, everything's static. Every time you move, something happens. You can choose to skip turns and stay in the same space. There's all these elemental effects that go along as well. So you've got these areas where you've got explosive barrels next to like barrels of oil that can do lots of damage to particular characters. You get these timer countdowns on the squares as well, so you can tell exactly how long it's going to take before they attack you. So you can either choose to stay in the square, so there's obviously one turn. Later on, some of these guys get 2 turn warnings before they attack you. I've really enjoyed it. I think there's a simple mechanics process to it, which I really appreciate, but it is one of those things that it's really easy to learn, but very difficult to master. So there you go, it's 2 attacks in those tiled squares there. I enjoyed it. Like, some of the sound design's really nice too. I think it's quite simple. Here I was attacking in the wrong direction, which is very helpful, obviously. That's one of the things that you have to get used to. So I played this with a keyboard and mouse. There are options to play it with a controller, but it is all very directional based. So if you're attacking in the wrong direction, that's an issue. There's also things where you're attacking with swords. They attack in a straight line. If you attack with spears, they do up to 2 squares damage. Or if you get an axe, you can actually do a circular damage right around your location. So it does 8 squares around your spot. Here you go. So you've got the barrels of oil, and they are right next to the explosive barrels. Obviously, there's a bit of a risk when I've got a sword that, if I'm attacking, because it's only got that 1 square radius, that those the explosive barrels blow up in a 9 square spot. So it's you are running a very big risk of doing some serious damage. But it can pay off, like, especially if you end up not being covered in oil, but but your opponent does. That can be very very beneficial for you, because it'll continue to do extensive damage to them over time. You'll notice here they've got a turn. Like, if you look up in the top right here, they've got a turn counter. So that tells you how many numbers of turns you do. I don't know if that's it's going to be a thing later on. They may have levels where it's like they restricted the number of attacks you get or number of turns you get. Here we're selecting some of the magic powers as well. I quite like this Reaper of Pumpkins when they do like an earthquake sort of area of effect damage. So it'll get anyone in that current room that you're in, and it'll do a 9 square damage around their central location, with just solid melee damage. So this one here, this is the end level boss, who is a real pain in the bottom to beat. Pain in the ass. Come on, let's say it. It just keeps going. So and she'll keep spawning units to assist her as well. This attack that I had there, the brambles, it's interesting. You can actually bramble yourself though, so it basically ties down a character to a location for a certain number of turns. So depending on certain aspects, they can, that can impact you for a period of time. So there you go. I set off that the fire, and that she's just gotten away with that. It was a real pain. I will say one of the things I learnt with this is, like, no matter how much damage you do to her, like the units that she spawns, and she spawns up a bunch of different random units, so it could be anything. It won't necessarily be just archers all the time. It'll be any particular unit, and she so if you take them out, she'll just spawn more units. So I think the idea is, if they're not bothering you, don't bother with them. Like, just keep going, because she will continue to, and there I died. She'll continue to attack you. But yeah, so this is Crown Trick. It's in beta at the moment. I believe you can wishlist it on Steam. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed this playthrough. I'm going to be playing through it a bit more, hoping that there's a bunch of new updates coming through for this shortly. I think it's worth your time. If you like the dungeon crawling roguelike games, I think you're going to have a good time with this one. It's real kitschy, a very sort of painted animated style. Really like it. I think it's worth your time to check out if you're into these types of games. But that's it for me today. I've been Fuzzy Dan, reminding you to get good at all of your games. You can also subscribe now to Shaken Not Nerd on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or the YouTubes to check out all of our gameplay videos and upcoming reviews. We also have the podcast going, so check out Shaken Not Nerd on your nearest podcatcher for